Hi, this is Professor Cruz Medina, and one of the questions that I often get is, can I use I in my writing? So, to answer this question, I would simply say, well, it often depends on the context and the genre of what you're writing. To put it that more simply, you might find yourself in the sciences, where the genres of writing that tend to be things like a lab report, where in these lab reports, what they're often going to want to hear is that something Y was observed. What they don't want to hear is I observed Y. And they do this in order to sound more detached from what's happening in the writing and to put it on the objects and the subject of what's being experimented on. In this case, we see a clear, obvious reason not to use I in writing. Similarly, even in places like English classes, English literature, there will be those cases where if you put something like Y was observed, you are going to hear a big when it comes from some faculty. Now, what they want to hear, the reason they say this is because this is what's called passive voice. Two S's there. So instead of Y was observed, they want to see something like a subject, like Caraway observed Gatsby. Right? So in this case, we have a clear subject who is observing an object. Now, one of the other times that the I question comes up, even in English, is oftentimes folks would want to say something like, I think Fitzgerald liked elitism. I don't think he really did. However, this could be an argument that's made. So, this is where some folks will say, I don't want to see the I here. So, one of the quick remedies, if you, in your beginning of your writing process, like to use I to get all your ideas down, you could still begin by saying, I think, same thing we have above, Fitzgerald liked elitism. So, if you want to still make the same argument here, you simply can take out the I think and just begin, Fitzgerald liked elitism. And here we have the same argument being made, but if you're wanting to make it, again, sound more detached analytically, you simply can take out the I think. So, of course, there are always occasions when you can, in fact, use the I, and that the I is strongly recommended. So the I, when to use personal narratives. So if you're asked to write about yourself, or a statement of purpose. Many times folks write these when they're applying to go to college. And there are also argument genres where the use of I is particularly persuasive, especially when the author has some particular ethos or credibility that further the argument that they're trying to make. Another thing that goes along with the idea here, or some pushing back and thinking about I in the sciences, again, they are trying to sound authoritative. That is the goal there with the use or the lack of use of I. However, sometimes scientific language has also been used to silence voices, silencing that voice, or limiting certain perspectives. So, taking away some of the views that we hear. And at the same time, a passive voice or a very scientific voice can have the same impact as it does in legal representation of taking away some folks' rights. So we can clearly see that when the I isn't present, that we see the unfortunate situation where a person can be turned into something of an object. And in that case, they lose their agency. So while the question is, can I use my I in writing? We can see the situations where you can work around it. You can see why folks haven't asked you to do it, occasions when to use it, and also some limitations and cautions for having a hard and fast rule of saying no I's ever in certain genres and contexts. I hope this helped. Thank you so much.